You hear Iran officially closed the strait 20 minutes ago? Yeah, of course, because the ceasefire was fake. I'm not. Okay. The tiniest bit of accolades for the "I told you so." Israel felt left out of the fake ceasefire, and rather than doing the sensible thing, which is allow the situation to degrade naturally, because Trump unwittingly agreed to a bunch of conditions that he would never normally accept, Israel decided to just go and kill like 300 civilians in Beirut. Just wide-scale bombing in an ancient capital city for literally no reason other than to express displeasure. It's purely vindictive killing. It might as well have been the IDF just shooting a bunch of children in the back of the head. It's literally just the IDF was upset that the ceasefire was agreed to without their permission. Iran closed the strait less than an hour ago, I believe, because obviously the ceasefire wasn't going to happen anyway. Obviously, it was purely civilian targets. No Hezbollah, just killing people for the funsies, of course. To corroborate your Israelis were just upset point. Yeah, no, it is just vindictiveness. It was a massive bombing run on Beirut. So, of course, the ceasefire was fake and it was off. It was just one more rug pull by Donald Trump and co. The big plan was Donald Trump threatened to end Iran's civilization because he wanted to get those prices real high. And then he desperately petitioned Pakistan's PM to facilitate a fake ceasefire in order to get those prices way down low. Pump and dump, simple as. Sell the short, whatever. And in the process, Iran took advantage by saying, oh, okay, you want a ceasefire? Well, here's everything you're going to have to agree to. And Trump said yes. Trump had no intention of actually agreeing to any of those things, but in so doing, he ceded ground and left Israelis out of the conversation, which made them really mad. Hebrew Twitter was having a meltdown. You know, I saw it on Twitter. I hit translate from Hebrew, and they were like, oh, we want to kill children! Rape and kill! Which probably doesn't differ that much from the conversations they're having on a normal day-to-day basis, but they seemed more upset than they normally were. You know, we know what happens when Israelis get upset or experience any other emotion. They kill civilians. Meltdown on Zionist Twitter? Yeah. It's exactly what you would expect. It's not... The opposition leader in Israel was mad too. Well, of course. It's not like there's any real opposition in Israel. They're pretty unified on this. And now the White House is pretending they never agreed to Iran's term. Yeah, obviously. It's again, I apologize for sounding conceited, but I did call all of this. It was pretty obvious. The only people who were not aware of this was Western media. Western media was the only place you would go to be confused by all of this is Western media. If you were watching AP News live feed, Reuters, CNN, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, or sorry, MS Now, those are the only places in the world you could go to get a misinformed understanding of the situation. That's it. If you simply listen to Iran, everything would be clear. I'm not joking. That's true. That's completely true. Lamau Levitt said the strait was totally open and reports that it were closed are false. That's probably because a lot of people bought short positions that haven't sold yet. Yeah. Like their short sell doesn't come up until later. They're going to want to keep oil prices low for a little while, but inevitably it's going to skyrocket back up. Again, as I keep having to remind people, because I know everyone's real doomer pilled on like the fakeness of the economy, but oil is not a speculative asset that exists only on people's ledgers. It is a real physical thing with a largely inelastic demand, and it is running out. Got to understand what that's going to do to the prices, man. Imagine you have a world where exactly 100% of the food that is needed for everyone to eat comfortably is produced. 100%, you know, not a single bite gets wasted, right? Every meal goes into somebody's belly. Every meal is appreciated and needed. And then all of a sudden, 20% of the world's food production is cut off. What do you do with that? Well, depending on who gets what, it's very possible that 20% of the world's population dies of starvation. You know what that's going to do to the price? It's not like you're buying, it's not like you're buying luxury furniture or whatever. You just wait for a better season. You need it 3 times a day. It's going to drive the price way up. as it already has. But, you know, we're on a bit of a bubble right now. I think the ceasefire was to help the Gulf nations prepare their air bases. It was less than 24 hours, man. Less than 24 hours. Anyway, yeah, the ceasefire was fake, but even insofar as it was fake, Israel responded to it with a hysterical and disastrous massacre of a civilian population. They did a little 9/11 of their own, not content with merely doing the first one. That was a joke. That was Osama bin Laden. I do hate Israel, though. You should not take from my little joke the sentiment that I think Israel did 9/11. Only that they would have if they could have. Spiritually, they did. Spiritually, they did. Yeah. I mean, I would argue that Saudi Arabia is spiritually Israeli, in the same way that Dubai is. Genuine question: does the average American understand the market manipulation Trump is doing? No, the average American doesn't. I'm I'm very tired. The average American is unworthy of the enfranchisement that God has given them through the American electoral system. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Trump will discuss withdrawing from NATO with Secretary General Rutte today. I wonder if the reason they're so keen on withdrawing from NATO is so that Israel can get more momentum towards attacking Turkey. There have been some worrying signs from U.S. Israeli officials and some Israel media people that they're interested in tickling Turkey's balls a little bit. Shouldn't have taken the nukes out of there. God, I can't believe we're reaching a point in geopolitics where I'm wishing that Turkey had nuclear weapons. Turkey would win that, I think. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. For sure, 100%. Israel hit the Ministry of Health, 80 plus killed. Ah, the Ministry of Health. My apologize for being uninformed on the matter. I didn't realize they'd attacked a fucking hospital. Of course they did. Why wouldn't they? They're Israel. They also attacked a cemetery. It's called double tapping, and it's highly praised in their culture. Don't be disrespectful. Can't believe Lebanon would put all these sick people in a hospital, a valid military target. Yeah, seriously. Zombieland mentioned? Wow, that is a deep cut. I haven't thought about that movie in ages. Anyway, the long-term consequence of this ceasefire is negligible. It's going to lead to probably a few $billions of exchanged hands behind the scenes due to insider trading. Israel is now more wary and distrustful of Trump, which is good for us in the long term. Of course, those ingrates aren't appreciative of anything we do for them. You know, we could facilitate their genocide for a decade and they would still be whining about it. So, you know, the downturn in trust was pretty inevitable. Not really a big surprise there. Oh, I this tweet was too funny to not bring up. I did see. I believe Hen Mazig is. Well, hold on. Is Hen Mazig? One second. Hen Mazig Twitter. Is he Israeli or is this a different author? The wrong kind of Jew. Yeah. Okay. That tells me. Hmm. Okay. Not Israeli then. Only Israelis make a point in saying double-sided ceasefire, which is different to normal ceasefires where Israel only continues to attack. Breaking, the U.S. has announced a double-sided ceasefire with the Iranian regime following a proposal by Pakistan. I love this so much. I love it so goddamn. It's so revealing to their mindset, man. It's so fucking funny. Jesus Christ. Didn't even have to translate that one from Hebrew. I think they're just quoting Trump here. Trump is Israeli. The war is turning Iran into a major world power. God bless. My friend is a lieutenant. He doesn't think we can keep the war up because the whole world hates us now. Not the purity test, but you're friends with an IDF lieutenant? I not to judge one for the company they keep, but the whole world has hated you for a while. But yeah, it's only going to get um oh no, a US lieutenant? Okay, you should be careful and specify because we were talking about Israelis there. You mean America. Everyone hates America. Yes, yes, public opinion towards America is coming down considerably. Yeah, for sure. Still judging? Oh, listen, okay, there is a world of difference between being a US lieutenant and a Israeli lieutenant. Not to defend the former or anything, but there is a world of difference for sure, you know? NYT updates on recent events from a few minutes ago. Oh, the New York Times, where I love to go for my accurate information on the ongoing situation. All right, let's see what's been going on. A lot's been going on, judging by the density of the feed. I want to get lost in the rock and roll and drift away. A White House official said the 10-point peace plan Iran publicly released on Wednesday differs from the plan that Trump said was a workable basis on which to negotiate. Right, because Trump just said that shit without, like, yeah. What's Chuck Schumer up to? Chuck Schumer, Democrat of New York, minority leader, said Wednesday the Senate will take up a war powers resolution next week after lawmakers return from a 2-week recess. Oh, I'm sure that'll go well. Yeah. Yep. Bahrain will reopen its airspace. The IRGC threatened a military response if attacks on Lebanon are not immediately halted. Casualty toll in Lebanon continues to climb. At least 112 people were killed on Wednesday in these strikes. Nice typo. At least 112 people were killed on Wednesday, killed in those strikes. I'm surprised Schumer said he wants to end the conflict. Schumer's fine with the conflict. He just doesn't like how much of a reputational hit Israel's taking. He's aware of the fact, and he's right to, because Schumer is smarter than the average servant of Israel. He's aware of the fact that the way things are playing out right now, America is going to be like 10 years from now, the median American voter will think we should nuke Israel. So he's aware of the fact that the way things are going right now, the popularity of Israel is not exactly on the up and up.
Negotiations in these. The world has just witnessed a historically swift and successful military triumph. President Trump started Operation Epic Fury with strategic military objectives, and the United States has clearly achieved them. The president's maximum pressure and the leverage created by the success of Operation Epic Fury led to the Iranian regime asking for and ultimately agreeing to a ceasefire proposal with the United States. Iran could no longer tolerate being bombed or taking the gamble of what was to come following President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline last night. Iran has agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz, and as the president said, we have received a proposal from the Iranians that has been determined to be a workable basis on which to negotiate. I've seen a lot of inaccurate coverage today from the media about these negotiations and these plans already. So let me be clear and correct the record. The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally...
How can they lie with a straight face? They're fundamentally different kinds of people from us.
Unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage.
And
the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The president's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open with no limitations or delays.
Didn't last long, huh?
Is saying that Iran has now closed off the Strait of Hormuz today in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. What's the White House response to that?
The president was made aware of those reports before I came to the podium. That is completely unacceptable. And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the Strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly and safely. That is his expectation. It has been relayed.
It is our expectation that the strait be opened. Also, the strait is open. Big victory. We won. Also, we agreed to a ceasefire. Also, the ceasefire that we agreed to is not the one that Iran agreed to. Also, Israel isn't a part of the ceasefire. Attacks on Beirut? Haven't heard of her.
Him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false.
It's all such a joke. The fallout's so bad we got the Spanish Prime Minister saying this. Spain is like the only real country in the world. Levitt said Lebanon's not part of the ceasefire agreement. Israel's also said the truce does not extend to Lebanon, but the IRGC threatened a military response against aggressors in the region if there was not an immediate halt to attacks in Lebanon, where Israel's targeted the Iran-backed Hezbollah armed group. I love the New York Times so much. They have not targeted Hezbollah. They actually destroyed a civilian hospital and killed hundreds of civilians. Also, Lebanon was a part of the ceasefire agreement. Trump might have lied when he said he agreed to it, but that is what he agreed to. NYT is fucking evil. Yep. Can we check who Tyler Page is? Sure. Wanna get lost in the rock and roll and drift away. Educated at Oxford. Trying to find a wiki page. Should be full wiki pages on everyone who writes for a mainstream journalistic organization. Oh, he only joined the Times back in early 2025. Actually got into journalism super recently. Dresses poorly, like all young men today. Yeah, I can't find a wiki on him. Anyway, we're getting distracted from the main point, which is that New York Times is evil and lies to you.
Posted the statement from the Iranian government that passage in the strait will be coordinated with Iran's armed forces. As of today, who controls the Strait of Hormuz?
Again, these statements were put out 12 hours ago. We expect that the strait will be opened immediately. As I said earlier, we have seen an uptick in traffic in the strait, and it's something that we are monitoring minute by minute, hour by hour as the days go on.
Who controls the strait right now?
Neat. Oil prices fall, but energy production remains frozen despite the ceasefire. Yep. Netanyahu said the ceasefire agreement with Iran does not include Lebanon, where Israel has mounted a forceful assault against Hezbollah. Lying. The Iran-backed military group. Again, like, I don't... How do people reconcile the idea that we live in a democracy with this? How can we possibly live in a democracy when every media agency just breathlessly repeats the lies given to us by a foreign government? This is a foreign government. Israel is a foreign government. They're not even lying because of pressure pushed by the Trump administration. Israel has literally no litigative authority over the New York Times. There is nothing Netanyahu or his cronies can do. The New York Times chooses to bend the knee time and time again. Even Canada's public broadcaster reported this as Israel killing civilians. Amera Israel. And we're caught up. The ceasefire was fake, and no oil is moving through. Was the New York Times always like that? To an extent, yes, in the sense that they've been servants to power, but the fealty to Israel has been ramping up in the past few decades. You know? It's like how many Jewish organizations over the past century in America have been Zionist rags, but over the past 20 or 30 years, all of them have become hardline Zionist rags. Well, not all of them. Most of them. There's definitely been a shift, you know? Like, the ADL has always been Zionist, but Greenblatt represented a significant shift to the right in terms of the editorial management of the ADL. And he came in, what, 10, 15 years ago? The editors are neocons? They're worse than neocons. Well, anyway. New IDF announcement. Oh boy, lost fucking page of Mein Kampf. We have launched Operation Roar of the Lions. Jesus Christ. To seriously strike the Iranian terrorist regime. I think this is poorly translated. I'm pretty sure this is referring to the previous military operation, not to a new one. They're talking in the past tense about their attacks in Iran, not in the present tense. I don't believe that Israel has begun engaging in attacks in Iran again. Yet. Though they definitely will. This is Operation Roaring Lion. My bad. That's okay. I know that you're getting an HRT soon. You're excited. The Trump administration inches closer to excommunication by the Pope. God willing. I hope one day Christendom reclaims its rightful territory and the Pope launches a crusade on the United States so that from coast to coast we may once again be reunited in Christ rather than being ruled by these devil-worshipping, child-fucking evangelicals.